Hey guys, my name is Discourse and welcome to my channel dedicated to bringing you to the best Batman miniature game content on the internet. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up, and for more content just like this, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell button so you're always up to date. Night Models have recently released a new starter box for the Batman miniatures game entitled Back to Gotham. So, if you're new to the channel or the game, Batman miniatures game is a skirmish-sized tabletop miniatures game where 2 or more players will take command of various crews of between 4 and 12 heavily detailed miniatures representing a variety of characters from the Batman universe. Each player's goal will be to enact their schemes on the streets of Gotham and outsmart their opponent to achieve objectives related to the theme and quirks of their particular crew. In today's video, I'm going to try and answer the question for a new player. Is the Back to Gotham starter set released in April 2021 from Night Models worth it? This is the second iteration of the Back to Gotham box and is a smaller, less expensive version of what Night Models originally released back in 2020. It's currently on sale for £67, €77 or around $90. So look, I'm not going to bury the lead here guys. If you're really interested in starting the Batman miniatures game right now, this is the best way to start. So then, let's see what you get in the box. The first thing to note is that the starter set comes with all the tokens you need to play the game. It has rulers for movement, condition tokens that are used to mark status effects on characters. It has template for your template weapons like shotguns and Joker teeth. It comes with different colored D6 dice. It has pass markers for each player. It has around 8 suspect markers for each player. And the starter set even comes with event markers that can represent things like ammo crates, poison canisters, and med packs, for example. It also comes with sewer markers and lamppost markers, which are part of the setup of the game. So, it comes with a lot of peripherals that are almost mandatory for new players. And you're going to want all of these tokens, and it's probably worth it for those players that have previously bought 2nd edition starter boxes, like the Dark Knight Rises starter box, just because those 2nd edition boxes didn't include 3rd edition specific tokens, like Audacity markers and suspect tokens, which are in this Back to Gotham box. Though you should note, any miniatures purchased in any other starter box will be totally playable in the 3rd edition. Though, that said, you can buy crew-specific suspect markers directly from Night Models. These are definitely premium items, and they do have 3D ornamentation to them. The two sets at the time of recording are Joker and Batman specific, but if all you want are the suspect markers, then these might be a more affordable option to get your hands on these. Now, if you're playing a crew other than Batman or Joker, you can still use these, they just might not fit in with the aesthetic of your crew. It comes with a physical rulebook, which is nice. This is an updated rulebook from the original starter set released in 2020. I've had a read through this, and I can confirm it's a lot more clear compared to the previous 3rd edition rulebook. The rules themselves haven't changed, but the book has been cleaned up and reformatted to be easier to read. So what you're going to get in the box, aside from the peripherals and tokens, are the 2 crews. So you get a Batman and a Joker crew. This is obviously a very iconic matchup, and more than that, these are excellent crews for new players. Each crew will come with 20 cards that will form their objective deck. This deck is really the meat of how you will win the game. So unlike more traditional skirmish games, you don't really get rewarded for simply killing your opponent's models or trying to claim standardized scenario objectives on the board. Instead, each player will draw cards from their deck and have to achieve the objectives on those cards. This is a really elegant system. I have done a short video explaining how this works. The link to that is up above. But in terms of the starter set, this means that you'll have a deck of cards for each crew, meaning that both crews are playable straight out of the box. So importantly as well, this is the only way that you can purchase the Batman and Joker cards. So if you do want to crack out your 2nd edition Batman or Joker models and play with them in the 3rd edition, you're going to want to pick up this starter set as well. So aside from maybe organized crime, Joker and Batman are probably the 2 best beginner-friendly crews. They're both very strong and very intuitive in how they play. The Batman crew in this box is very GCPD oriented. It will come with Batman as the crew leader. He is a very strong iteration of Batman, probably the quintessential Batman stats wise. He has a really strong toolkit, and he's one of my favorites to use. He's worth a lot of points in terms of reputation, so you get a lot of points for plastic in this. The box also comes with a number of GCPD cops. First, you have Harvey Bullock, who is probably the strongest henchman in the Batman list. He's able to play around with suspect markers, he can plant evidence, and he has a special objective card that you can include in your crew deck. You also get Officer Merkel. He's armed with a really nice riot gun that deals some nice stun damage, and he's relatively tough. He's a bodyguard, which will be really useful if you decide to expand your crew further into a GCPD oriented list. You'll also get the GCPD Detective, who is basically a cheaper version of Harvey Bullock. So he plays around with suspect markers and helps you score cards, and he has a few nice traits. And finally, you'll get 2 generic cops. GCPD Cop 1 is armed with just a flashlight, so he's a pretty cheap model in terms of reputation cost. And GCPD Cop 2, who is a nice solid model armed with a taser. So this crew has a lot of cops in it, and it's a really nice launching pad for a new player. So the Batman crew, generally speaking, likes to play around with suspect markers. So they gather evidence, they deal a lot of stun damage, and they like to arrest models to remove them from the board. They're a slightly more elite crew when compared to the Joker crew. Overall, the models included in this box for the Batman crew come to a combined 280 reputation. Most games of Batman are played at the standard size of 350 reputation, so this crew, without any other purchases, will basically be good for the smaller sized games. The Joker crew in this box comes with Harley Quinn as the leader of the crew. There's a few versions of Harley Quinn that you can buy separately from Night models that are all slightly different. For example, Birds of Prey have a Margot Robbie version of Harley. The version included in this box is the closest to the classic animated series style Harley. The sculpt comes with 2 different heads, so you can choose to model her with Motley or not. She's also really strong and is one of my favorite models in the game. She's super mobile, has a huge hammer, she's acrobatic so she can dodge gunfire, and she's just an all-round nice bruiser model. And she has the ability to go deep into the opponent's crew and just start swinging. Alongside her, you get Deadshot. Deadshot is modeled with 2 different head options, so you can vary this up depending on how you want him to look. He's a free agent, and appropriately, he's a very impressive shooter. He comes armed with both a modified assault rifle and handguns. He's got a number of traits like rapid fire and expert marksman that ensure he's one of the best shooters in the game. He also comes equipped with night vision, which means he can see across the entire board and shoot anyone in line of sight. So he's just a very scary killer model that you'll use to pick off your opponent's models from halfway across the board. Though watch out for Batman, who can use his back claw to get in close and take him down. Some of the funnest experiences I've had in this game have been trying to kill Batman before he's able to reach me. You'll also get a collection of henchmen. So you get 6 thugs. You'll have to lovingly name these yourself. Thug 1 is a relatively fast model who's also pretty cheap, and he just comes armed with a knife. He's surprisingly useful. You get Thug 2, who's armed with a, frankly, pretty weak shotgun that uses template for its shots. He's not a great model, but he's pretty cheap and he's a nice additional body on the board. So you get Thug 3, who is a maniac armed with a chainsaw. He's a very scary model for your opponent. He's sort of a glass cannon, he's easy to take down, but if he gets into melee and can use that chainsaw, it's absolutely devastating in terms of the damage that it deals. You get Thug 4, who is just a nice consistent model, armed with an axe that can get a fair few amount of damage through, and he's a pretty low reputation cost too. You get Thug 5, who is armed with 2 pistols and has a trait that allows him to fire both at the same time. So he's a nice shooter and adds a fair amount of additional range firepower to your crew. And finally, you have Thug 6, who is pretty cheap and armed with an OK bat, but his main benefit is that he has the bodyguard trait, which lets him take shots for your boss. So basically, he's amazing for putting his face in the way of Batman's fist, so your Harley can keep up the good fight. Now, one important thing to note here is that both Deadshot and all the thugs have the unknown affiliation. This means that they can be taken in any crew except for a Batman crew, just because they all have the rival Batman attribute. So even if you don't plan on playing either the Joker or Batman, you'll still get a lot of value out of this box, just because you'll be able to use those thugs and Deadshot in other lists. The thugs even come with alternative heads, so you can assemble them to be less jokery and just more standard street level gangster. So in that sense, you're still getting a lot of value here, even if you're not interested in the Joker. So I think this is a very consumer friendly way of bundling the box together. In terms of playstyle, the Joker crew generally plays as more of a horde faction. They use a lot of weaker henchmen to overwhelm the opponent, and they get rewarded for losing models, and the objectives you'll be trying to score have a little bit of randomness about them, so you'll have Joker Chief chattering around the board and piles of stinky Jokerfish lying around before you know it. Now, that said, the Joker crew comes to 258 reputation, so what this means is that if you're splitting this box with another person, the Joker player will be at a slight disadvantage in terms of points. Also, the actual Joker leader model comes with a few special rules that are really integral to the playstyle of the Joker. So this crew will be pretty weak just out of the box compared to a traditional Joker crew, just because they won't have access to those special traits the Joker gives all of his henchmen. So, for that reason, I'd say if you're interested in the starter box for starting up a Joker crew, I'd also really recommend that you pick up the separate Joker model on the big base. This will run you an additional £38, €45, or $52. So with that Joker, you'll get to the standard crew size of 350 reputation, so that'll be everything you need to play a very strong and competitive Joker crew that has a really nice toolkit. Night models do sell a bundle that includes the Joker alongside the Back to Gotham Starter Box, so it might be worthwhile checking that out. So, Batman's crew in contrast has a bit more space to play around with. You'll be 70 reputation short of the standard 350 reputation crew size, so you could pick up the Commissioner Gordon model that comes on the big base with the bat signal. He slots in at exactly 70 reputation, so he'll bring you up to the 350 reputation standard crew size. He's a very strong support model. He has the trait Affinity Batman, that means he can be slotted into the same list as Batman, and he lets cops arrest models as a free action around him. So he'd definitely be what I recommend for Batman players who wish to pick up more of a GCPD style list. Though, for those players who are more interested in a sort of Bat Family list, if you drop GCPD Cop 1, you could pick up Jason Todd Red Hood, who is a very strong model. So the starter set leaves you with a really nice foundation from which to start collecting miniatures and getting in some games. After this, you might want to think about some other crews. I'd recommend your next purchase being the Objective Cards box set, which comes with the objective card decks for almost every single other crew, and this includes all the special objective character cards that have been released so far, and it even has generic cards that can be used in any crew, so it's a nice addition to your collection. Night models do sell bundles on their website that consist of around 350 reputation boxes of different crews bundled alongside the objective card box. And these do seem to be pretty good value for money. Now, I'm not sure if they're going to be permanent bundles, but if they do stick around, I will review them and let you know if they're worth it. So that's the starter set. And to be honest, like I said at the beginning, if you're starting the game, it's definitely worth it to pick this up, and it's certainly a nice introduction to the game. Now, it will come with cardboard character cards in it that will give you all the stats and traits of the characters included in this box. But Night Models have produced an app that will list all the traits and attributes and the stats of every miniature available to play in 3rd edition. What I would say as well is that if you're just getting into this, I would recommend picking up a nice hobby modeling knife that's pretty sharp. The miniatures are made out of resin, so you will need to use super glue to put them together, and they do require a little bit of cleanup to remove flash and things like that. I will have an unboxing of the starter set as soon as I can get my hands on it, where I'll go over some of that, and that should be linked above once it's available. So pick up that and some glue and you'll be all set to start the game. So if you enjoyed this content, please do subscribe to the channel and give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel to grow, and I really appreciate your support. I hope I've been able to guide you through the Back to Gotham Starter Box with this video, and I do hope you stick around with me for more videos. Bye bye!